Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov are continuing preparations inside the Poisk airlock for their spacewalk today. Aboard the Crew Dragon Resilience, you see Shannon Walker at the bottom of your screen, joined by Soichi Noguchi as they work to transfer equipment that was brought to the International Space Station aboard Crew Dragon. The work that they have been involved in is the transferring of equipment and cargo that was launched aboard the Crew Dragon atop a Falcon 9 rocket by SpaceX on Sunday night from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. They are 7 crew members strong now aboard the International Space Station, all part of the Expedition 64 crew, and will be dropping in to take a look at their work from time to time throughout the course of the day. There's another view of Japanese astronaut Soichi Noguchi, the 3rd human to have flown on 3 different spacecraft during a spaceflight career, following in the footsteps of Wally Schirra and John Young. Noguchi returning to the International Space Station for his 2nd long-duration mission and his 3rd mission to the station overall.
It is in depressed position. Depress is confirmed. Copy. And while the pressure is decreasing, please switch to Q card 4, step 6, depress to depress. All right. Q card 4, step 6.
Фрагмент 4, шаг 6, подготовил.
Q card 4, step 6. I'm ready. And what is the current excess pressure in USS 0.02 for EV1, 0.01 for EV2, copy. And what is the current MV pressure gauge reading in MRM2? It is 742. 742, copy. Well, 747. No. Okay, copy. And you're go to start the depress. Please open KSDSO, start up the timer. And when the pressure reaches 550 on MV, please close KSDSO valve and stand by for LED to go off. And please monitor the pressure decrease.
Принято.
Можно работать по открытию КСДСО. And you're going to open KSDSO depressed valve. Принято. It's in work. Copy.
With the hatch closed between the Poisk module and the Zvezda service module, Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov will open up a valve to begin the depressurization of Poisk down to 550 millimeters of mercury, the initial step in a multi-step process to test the integrity of the Poisk module and its seals.
Report the pressure reading. Pressure reading is 660, 650. This is the MV pressure reading. Copy. Stand by for 550 reading. Copy. 610. Copy. 600. 590. Copy. Good. 570. Copy. 550 closing KSD depressed valve. Copy. KSD depressed valve is closed, and the pressure reading is LED is not illuminated. The current pressure is 554 millimeters. All right, and please start the 10-minute timer for pressure stabilization in MRM2. Copy. 1349.
На скафандре сброса скаф состояние.
And the suit should be in the depressed pressure
And the first phase of this depressurization is now stopped at about 550 millimeters of mercury. The two cosmonauts inside Poisk and Kate Rubins on the station side of that interface between Poisk and Zvezda will perform leak checks to make sure that we have an airtight seal to the new airlock that is being employed for the first time today.
Sergey.
Rubins and her new arrivaled crewmates from Resilience are free to move about between the Russian and U.S. segments of the station. The hatch is closed to the aft portion of the Zvezda service module per the flight rules, but since Kate Rubins' Soyuz vehicle, the MS-17, is located on the Rosviet module port on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment, she is free to move about the cabin throughout the course of today's spacewalk.
Results. All right, copy. We're standing by then.
Sergey 1, 2, у вас какое
Sergey
положение
1 into what is the position of the temperature control handle? It is in position 1 and 4.
ТО у второго в тройке.
And for EV2, it is in position 3 copy. And how does it feel? Is it cool enough, comfortable? Yes, it is.
Хорошо.
Okay.
The International Space Station and its 7 crew members flying from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator at an altitude of 260 statute miles, passing just to the northwest of the capital of Somalia, Mogadishu.
And because of the foam that's on the side of the mega HEPA filter itself, the seal doesn't fit properly, and so it's kind of bowed in the middle. I don't know if that's going to be good enough or not.
Okay, we copy. We're checking.
That is Shannon Walker aboard the Crew Dragon Resilience, again referencing the transfer of cargo from Resilience into the International Space Station. That is occupying most of the Dragon crew's time today as they continue on with other work parallel to the spacewalk that is scheduled to begin with the opening of the hatch to the Poisk module a short time from now.
Нормально?
Is it okay?
Отходит.
Yes, I guess it's
Не более 30.
off a bit. It keeps increasing, but does not exceed 30. Sergey, what is the current MRM2 pressure reading?
Да, подросло немножко, 575.
It decreased a bit. Currently it is 575. 575, that's okay.
Продолжаем стабилизацию.
Copy. And please proceed with pressure stabilization.
Принято.
Copy.
Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov continue to monitor pressure inside the Poisk module. They are testing the integrity of the seals on the Poisk airlock, which is being employed for the first time today for a Russian spacewalk. Once Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov complete this preliminary set of leak checks at the Poisk module and open up the hatch, a Russian spacewalk, its duration is measured from hatch open to hatch close. So once the hatch is open, the clock will start on what is known as PET, or phased elapsed time, for the duration of the spacewalk until hatch close. Now, they will be closing the hatch here, again, as part of the leak checks associated with the first use of this Poisk airlock, but that will not stop the clock today. The clock will run from initial hatch opening to the void of space until hatch closure at the end of today's planned 6-hour spacewalk. A U.S. spacewalk out of the Quest airlock is measured in phased elapsed time from the time that astronauts put their suits on internal battery power until they're back inside the airlock and begin to repressurize Quest.
Осталось 2 минуты до окончания 10-минутной стабилизации.
2 minutes left before the end of the 10-minute stabilization.
Тенденция увеличения.
The current pressure is 557, so it's the tendency to rise has lowered a little bit. Copy. That's good. The good news.
That report from Sergey Ryzhikov indicating that pressure inside Poisk in this initial partial depressurization of the airlock is holding steady. That's good.
10 minutes is over. I'm ready to start 5-minute timer. Okay, 10 minutes of stabilization has passed. So MRM2 pressure, could you please report it? MRM2 pressure. 757.
757.
Oh, sorry, 577. Correction, 577. Okay.
Sergey, давай еще раз уточним.
Sergey.
575 или 577?
Okay, 575 or 577, Sergey? 577 Moscow.
Принято. 577.
577.
На контроль герметичности засекаем.
Okay, so now start the timer for the leak check for 5 minutes. in work. Okay, so PHO SU MRM2 leak check. Timer, 5-minute timer has started. Okay, copy. So the pressure is stable. The timer has started. Copy. This is Kate. I copy the pressure.
Kate Rubins monitoring the pressure integrity of Poisk from the station side of the docking interface between the Poisk module and the Zvezda service module. If you recall the configuration, Poisk is on the space-facing side, or the zenith side of the Russian segment. Pirs docking compartment, which has been used exclusively for Russian spacewalks since its arrival back in September 2001, is on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment.
Sergey, both EVs 1 and 2. This is medical support team. Could you please report how you feel? EV1 feels great. EV2 feels good. Copy. Thank you so much, guys.
One other noteworthy statistic, an anniversary coming up. Today's work on the Zarya module by Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov to replace the hardware associated with a fluid flow panel that regulates the plumbing, the flow of liquids through the plumbing of the Zarya module of the International Space Station, comes 2 days shy, today's spacewalk, 2 days shy of the 22nd anniversary of the launch of Zarya as the first element of the International Space Station atop a proton rocket on November 20th, 1998, from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan.
577. 577 is the pressure. Copy. 577. Please continue monitoring 2 more minutes. It's a firm continue monitoring.
Once again, if you're just joining us, Sergey Ryzhikov, the Expedition 64 commander, and flight engineer Sergey Kud-Sverchkov, inside the Poisk module, hatches closed. They're suited up in their respective Russian Orlan spacesuits, having conducted a partial depressurization of the airlock in a preliminary check of the integrity of the seals on that airlock that is being used for the first time today for support of a Russian spacewalk. Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov will open up the hatch to Poisk a short time from now, and then close the hatch back on Poisk and do a partial repressurization of the airlock in a test of the seals. They'll also do an inspection of those seals to make sure they're pristine before they open up the hatch for a final time and float outside to begin today's work.
Moscow station, after 5 minutes monitoring. The pressure is stable, 577, delta is 0. Okay, copy that. So delta P is 0, MRM2, 577, pressure. We copied that, and now on my go, you will proceed with your actions as per the procedure. Copy.
Значит, люки у нас герметичны.
So the hatches are not leaking, so Kate, you can go to PGO and close the hatch PGO S2SM, and we'll be standing by for your report on the hatch closure.
Хорошо, я сделаю. PGO пульт должен быть выключен и
Okay, I will do that.
должна я собирать
Moscow.
с собой в FGB.
So am I taking Inaudible with me to FGB? Yes, you are going to PGO and close PGO S2SM hatch, and we'll be standing by for your report on that, Kate. All right? I will do that, and I will transition to PGO. Copy. EV1 and EV2. So you are going to the next page of Q card 5, sheet 1, step 8, Orlan purge, start of pre-breathe.
So far, so good. Good integrity on the hatch seals to the Poisk module. Kate Rubins will complete the closure of a series of hatches at the docking interface between Poisk and the Zvezda service module before she makes her way back toward the Zarya module and the U.S. segment of the station. Meanwhile, that will set the stage for Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov to continue breathing pure oxygen to purge the nitrogen out of their bloodstreams and prevent any condition known as the bends or decompression sickness from occurring once they do step outside a short time from now.
This is Kate. I am in PGO. How do you copy me, Moscow? EV1 copies you. Well, the EV2 also copies you. And we are in Moscow standing by for the hatch closure. I am closing the hatch. As soon as I'm done, I will report it. Copy, Kate. EV1, EV2, you can start working step 8, Orlan purge, start of pre-breathe. It's Q card number 5. Copy, Q card number 5 is ready.
Хорошо.
Sounds good.
At the completion of pre-breathing, once the nitrogen has been purged from their bloodstreams, Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov will complete the initial depressurization of Poisk down to vacuum and open up the Poisk hatch to inspect the hatch seals. Once that hatch has been opened, they will then close the hatch back up and do a partial repressurization to about 260 millimeters of mercury in one final check of the integrity of those seals.
Start timer.
Правой стороны счетчик на 5 минут убывает.
So
В нижней строчке дельта БССО2
you can see
увеличивается.
the timer there, and it will be incrementing, and also the pressure for EV1 is 005, and the same for EV2. Copy. Now, during 5 minutes, you will stand by looking at the timer incrementing, and we will have to get not less than 250 atmospheres at the end of it all. So EV1 has 89, EV2 has 90 reading now. Copy. Okay, so the purge is going on. Copy.
Everything going very smoothly with this check of the integrity of the Poisk module seals in this initial depressurization, repressurization exercise to validate Poisk for use as an airlock for Russian spacewalks, the first of which will be occurring imminently as Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov continue pre-breathing pure oxygen.
PGO SU hatch is closed. Copy your report. Kate, PGO SU SM hatch is closed. Good news. Thank you, Kate.
Kate Rubins, of course, launched with Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov on the Soyuz MS-17 spacecraft from the Baikonur Cosmodrome back on October 14th.
Sergey, скажи, пожалуйста,
Sergey, when is the timer now? 2 minutes are left. 2:42 is the reading of the timer.
They are beginning their 6th week on board the International Space Station and, of course, have been joined by the 4 crew members of the Crew Dragon Resilience who arrived at the space station late Monday night. A 7-person crew now on board for the next 6 months. Rubins, Ryzhikov, and Kud-Sverchkov will return home in April as the Resilience crew then will be joined by both the Russian crews on a Soyuz vehicle and the next Crew Dragon crew, the Crew 2 crew, that will be commanded by NASA astronaut Shane Kimbrough. Once again, Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov soon to begin the first spacewalk of their respective careers. Ryzhikov now flying for the 2nd time in space. This is Kud-Sverchkov's first flight into space. Again, the 232nd spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades, and the 8th spacewalk out of the International Space Station in 2020. Ryzhikov will be wearing the suit bearing the red stripes, helmet camera number 20, that you'll see in a ghostly figure on the lower right-hand side of your screen once the 2 cosmonauts are outside of the Poisk module. Kud-Sverchkov will be wearing the suit bearing the blue stripes as EV2, or extravehicular crew member number 2. His helmet camera number will be 18.
PSS Delta is 415 for EV1 and 415 for EV2. Okay. Now, please transfer PSS into the pre-breathe position and stand by for the message purge normal. Copy. So now we have this message purge normal for EV1 and the same for EV2. Now you have to see, you will see the pre-breathe screen right now, and the timer will be incrementing in the corner of the screen. And the time of the pre-breathe start 14:013. 14.13. Copy that. And what about the pressure in the spacesuit, guys? 007 for EV1, 007 for EV2 is the spacesuit pressure. Copy. Thank you. Now you will start working the next step on my go. Copy.
Можно начинать работать.
You can start working. Step 9, pressure equalization in MRM2 and PHO. Between MRM2 and PHO, page 9, Q card number 5.
Сергей 1, это фрагмент 5, лист 2.
This is Q card 5, sheet 2, step 9, pressure equalization between MRM2 and PHO. Okay, copy Q card 5, sheet 2, step 9, copy. You can start performing step 9, Sergey. Copy.
Перевожу в наддув.
So I'm transitioning to repress until 0.1, and then the pre-breathe airlock. Yes, it's a go. You can start. So I have press in on BSS. So the pressure is decreasing, so 0.1 on the SCAR sensor.
This is the repressurization of Poisk to enable Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov to complete the pre-breathe of pure oxygen, cleansing any nitrogen that is residually residing in their bloodstreams. They then will conduct a depressurization to vacuum of the Poisk airlock before opening up the hatch for the first of 2 hatch openings, all part of this preliminary check of Poisk and validating its capability to support today's spacewalk.
Is eliminated, and I'm proceeding. So the depot SU is open. So the depot SU is open. The pressure is decreasing slowly, but it is increasing on MV. So it is 630. And what about the pressure in the space suit? The current one is 012 for EV2. It is 645 in MRM2. The current pressure in MRM2 645.
This is a view from an external camera on the International Space Station showing the Poisk airlock, the module itself, which has to this point served as a docking port for arriving Russian Soyuz vehicles, first launched on November 10th, 2009, and installed 2 days later upon its arrival at the station, today to be used for the first time as an airlock in support of Russian spacewalks.
MRM2 MV pressure is 755, and the tendency to increase. Kate, what about PHO pressure, tunnel pressure? Kate, Moscow. 658 is the pressure in PHO. Copy PHO 658. So what is the spacesuit pressure, Sergey? 0.1 for the EV1 and 0.2 for the EV2. Copy. You can proceed to the next Q card number 5, sheet 3, step 10, MRM2 PHO depressed to 550 millimeters. Copy. Kate also copy.
Будешь готов и комментируй свои действия.
EV1, when you are ready, please give a running commentary. Okay, step 10, Q card 5.
Фрагмент 5, лист 3.
Sheet 3.
Будем открывать КСДСО.
We will open KSDSO, bleed to 550 millimeters,
Контролем по времени.
Controlling the time, and then
КСДСО.
I will close KSDSO valve. Yes, that's right. It's open KSDSO. When the pressure is 550, you close the valve KSDSO.
Принято.
Copy. KSDSO valve is open. I have LED. The timer has started. The current pressure is 730, so 720, 630, 620. Now it is 600 even. Copy, Sergey. 580 now is the pressure reading. 570, 560. Copy. 555, I'm closing KSD valve. The KSD is closed. The pressure starts increasing again. It is 560, the current pressure reading. Copy. 65 now. Please monitor it on the timer. 45 seconds. Sounds good. And send the command to close KVD PHO S2. After the command goes through, you will have to inhibit this command. Okay, copy. I'm sending the command to close KVD equalization valve PHO S2. 14:20 is the time. The LED is not illuminated. I'm sending the inhibit. The inhibit is sent. Permission is not illuminated now. The MRM2 pressure is 580. Kate, we are standing by for the PHO pressure stabilization now.
5 minutes.
For 5 minutes. Okay, copy. This is Kate. What is PHO pressure when it all started?
Сейчас полновакуометр, текущее давление это 595,9.
Okay, the current pressure is 695. Sergey, on the ATU, could you please release the transmission button? Copy. Will you reach Sergey to? Yeah, I will try.
Так, передача, да?
The transmission, yes, that's right. What about line 2? I should leave it? Yes, leave it as is. It is the left one. Yes, left lower one.
Так, достаешь?
Can you reach it? Let me try. This is EV1. Guys, don't rush. You know, the stabilization needs to be for 5 minutes, so there is no hurry at all. So we did not hear each other when it was released. Now we pressed it again, the transmission button. Sergey, so could you please repeat? There was a dropout. We did not hear. So what happened? When we released the transmission button, the communication between EV1 and 2 disappeared. So as soon as we pressed it, we started hearing each other again. So you pressed it again. Yes, that's right. Copy. Okay, so let's leave this configuration for now. Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston, a view of the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station, which is currently flying from northwest to southeast at an altitude of 259 statute miles over the Northwest Pacific Ocean. Everything on board in great shape. The 5 U.S. OS crew members, U.S. Orbital Segment crew members, Kate Rubins, Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, Soichi Noguchi, the latter four having arrived aboard the Crew Dragon Resilience late Monday night to form a 7-person crew on board the orbital outpost. Everyone in good shape. The 5 USOS crew members currently working inside on a variety of tasks, including utilization, as well as transferring equipment from Resilience over to the International Space Station. Meanwhile, Rubens has completed her work in support of the preparation of the cosmonauts on board Expedition 64 Commander Sergey Ryzhikov and Flight Engineer Sergey Kud-Sverchkov, who are inside the Poisk module conducting a methodical series of tasks on a checklist to depressurize the Poisk, repressurizing it, and then depressurizing it again prior to opening up the spacewalk hatch. And this is the first ever use of Poisk as an airlock. This is the first tentative step in the ultimate decommissioning of the other module on the opposite side of the Russian segment, the Pirs docking compartment that has served both as a docking port and as a spacewalking airlock since it was launched in September of 2001. Pirs next year will be disposed of through the use of a Progress resupply vehicle. Progress will be launched, will dock to Pirs, and then it will be detached from the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment and deorbited to clear the decks for the launching of the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module, a huge 22-ton module, 43 feet in length, 13.5 feet in diameter, that will be launched on a Proton rocket from the Baikonur Cosmodrome to replace Pirs and serve both as a research laboratory as well as a docking port and an airlock for Russian spacewalks.
5-minute stabilization time is over. KVD-PGO S2 valve should be closed manually by you. Sounds good. KVD-PGO SM. What position again, Moscow? Closed. KVD-PGO SM valve should be closed manually. KVD-PGO SM is in the closed position now. Copy, Kate. Now, what about PHO pressure on MV? 599 is the current pressure. Copy, Kate, 599. Okay, start 5-minute timer to monitor the pressure. Copy. Inaudible from EV1.
Sergey
1 and 2. So pressure gauge pressure in your spacesuit. 018 for EV1 and 018 for EV2. Great. And so what about the pre-breeze timer? How much time is left? 15 minutes, 45 seconds.
Принято. Хорошо.
Copy, that's good.
We are in the very early stages of today's activities that will ultimately lead to Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov floating outside of the Poisk airlock to begin their work for the day. Once outside, they have about 5.5 hours of spacewalking tasks to complete, including the replacement of the hardware for a fluid flow regulator that does just what the name suggests, provides the right regulation of fluids to flow through the plumbing of the Zarya module of the International Space Station. The spacewalk occurring 2 days shy of the 22nd anniversary of the launch of Zarya on a Proton rocket from the Baikonur Cosmodrome as the first element of the International Space Station. They then will make their way to disconnect a telemetry antenna called a Transit B antenna that is connected at the interface between the Zvezda service module and the Pirs docking compartment and reconnected to the interface to the Poisk module, the first of many, many steps in the months ahead that will lead to the decommissioning of piers as a spacewalking airlock and a docking port for arriving Russian vehicles. They will retrieve a bracket that is housed on the outside of piers that contains a series of material science experiments. They'll clean a window on the Zvezda service module and redirect a thruster impingement monitoring unit on the Poisk module, all part of today's spacewalk. Once it begins, the spacewalk not yet underway, it will begin with the initial opening of the hatch to the Poisk module, following this series of activities to test the integrity of Poisk in terms of holding pressure, both through a depressurization and repressurization set of activities.
Скажите, пожалуйста,
Sergey, tell us the current pressure in PHO per the MV. It is 600. So it is 600. We copy.
Kate, 5
minutes are down. What's the pressure in PHO per the MV? And the PHO pressure per MV is 601. 601. Copy, and please proceed on my go from now on.
Кейт, значит,
Kate,
давление в ПХО 601.
So PHO pressure is 601. So now we open cover the valve, cover the PGO SM, and equalize the pressure between PHO and FGB. Copy. PGO SM is in position open. Copy. Kate, and please monitor the pressure in PHO per MV and in FGB till the pressures are equalized. So what is the pressure in FGB right now per MV? 694 is the current pressure.
Not connected.
And
In FGB, unintelligible.
Number 2.
Copy.
СГБ, текущее давление по мановаккумулятор это 735.
And in FGB per MV, current pressure is 735. Copy. That's good. We copy. 735.
У вас какое давление в скафандрах сейчас?
And operator 1 and operator 2, EV1 and EV2.
17. И осталось 8,40 на десторацию.
So,
Давление в минус 682. Это хорошо.
just wanted to report that for the first suit it's 017 and 018, and 682 is the pressure, and the time for the desaturated, for the pre-breathe that we have left is 8:40. Copy.
Пожалуйста, еще какое давление в Мими-2?
And what is the, could you come again, what's the pressure in MRM2?
8,2.
682 is the pressure in MRM2.
You're hearing the interpretation of communications between the flight controllers of the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov on the outskirts of Moscow, and the two cosmonauts, Sergey Ryzhikov and Sergey Kud-Sverchkov, who are inside the Poisk module, currently pre-breathing pure oxygen as part of the validation of Poisk to be used as an airlock for Russian spacewalks, which it will today for the first time. They conducted a partial depressurization of Poisk, now pre-breathing pure oxygen. They will open up the hatch to Poisk after completing the depressurization down to vacuum a short time from now, inspect the seals around the hatch to make sure that they're in good shape before closing the hatch and doing a partial repressurization prior to depressurizing Poisk for one final time and opening up the hatch to float outside to begin their spacewalk today.
Pressure. Per MV, 734.
Monitoring pressures inside the Zvezda service module is NASA flight engineer Kate Rubins, who helped the cosmonauts suit up earlier this morning in their Russian Orlan spacesuits. The International Space Station and its 7 occupants flying from northwest to southeast across the Pacific Ocean in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator.
734. It's somewhere in between 734 and 735. Okay. And in FGB, the pressure is approximately the same. FGB PGO pressure is 734.5.
Давайте с вами ПГО-СМ переведем в положение электроуправления.
Let's put the KVD valve in electrical control mode. Copy. In work.
KVD PGO-SM.
All right. KVD PGO-SM is in electrical control mode.
Принято. Хорошо.
Copy. That's good. Sergey 1 and Sergey 2, we are done with the verifying at OPHO leak check, and the hatches are leak tight, and we are ready to continue with the pre-breathe. Okay, we understand, and we have 5 minutes left on the timer. Copy.
Sergey,
just wanted to ask you to prepare cue card 6, step 12. All right, I have it in front of me.
Sergey 1, Sergey 2,
and
выполним с вами пункт 12.1.
Please, let's put 12.1 in work. Only step 12.1 to prep control. All right, pneumatic valve is off, regulator prime. So we have prime first and second. Tanks. First prime, and then second. EV2. All right, stand by. We have it as I have it as prime 2. Copy. The pump and the fans for EV1 and EV2 are on. The transmitter for EV1 is on, and I confirm the same for the EV2. For breathe, we have in the valve in position open. Okay, we copy. That is good. Let's stand by for the end of the countdown and then proceed per my go. All right, we are standing by for the next 3.5 minutes. Sergey 1 and Sergey 2. How much is on the pre-breathe timer? 1.5 minutes. Copy. Moscow, we are done with the pre-breathe, and the counter started implementing. How copy? We copy. Please prepare step to perform step 12.2, MRM2 depress, and please do it on my go. We copy.
Sergey, можем начинать работать.
Sergey, you can put step 12.2 in work. Copy.
Здесь мы с вами
So
включаем.
here we activate the injectors
Так точно.
in work.
Приступаем, включаем инжектор. Перевел инжектор.
We put the injector in the correct position.
5 минут счетчик пошел.
All right.
Правильно?
And we're standing by for the 5-minute timer.
Стравливаем давление до.
And we are going down on the pressure till
Значит, после включения инжектора
once
у нас
you
счетчики появились на дисплее в правом углу на 5 минут.
unintelligible the injector. Did you get the timers that are with a countdown?
29.
What, 29? Well, for me it's not there.
Так, Сергей 2, посмотрите,
Sergey,
должна быть надпись инжектор,
EV2.
БСС в атмосферах.
You should get the injector like at O2 BSS,
Появилось уже 4:10 осталось.
and then the atmospheres,
Это хорошо.
and then you would have the counter there. So yes, I do have it. All right, Sergey, open KVD
Давление
SO valve and start depressing MRM2. Till what pressure?
Мы будем идти планово до 12 миллиметров.
12 millimeters, that's what we have planned. Please monitor the pressure in the
Проверка на фоне сброса. При давлении
module and also in the suit.
под УСК у каждого 0,35-0,4. И если мы эту проверку пройдем, откроем дальше.
So you would have to have 0.35, 0.34 in the suits and 350. All right, Kevedo SO is open. The current pressure is 530, and pressure is 3.9 for me as the SO opened at 1445. The current pressure is 480.
Контролируем.
We're monitoring the pressure drop till it gets to 350. 035, 034.
This is Mission Control Houston. If you're following along, the pre-breathe of pure oxygen by Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov inside the Poisk module airlock is complete. They have resumed the depressurization of the airlock down to vacuum before opening up the EVA hatch, or the spacewalk hatch, on the side of Poisk. That's out of the view that you just saw in this downlink video. We are in a handover between satellites on the tracking and data relay satellite system at the moment.
You can open.
Once the hatch is open, they will conduct an inspection of the seals around the hatch to make sure that they are free of any debris before closing the hatch once again and conducting a partial repressurization of Poisk to about 260 millimeters of mercury for a final leak check before they open the hatch one more time, and then we'll float outside to officially begin today's spacewalk that will be marked by a series of tasks, including the repositioning of an antenna from the interface between Poisk and the Zvezda service module to the Poisk module, the first step in a long series of work that will result in the decommissioning of the Pirs docking compartment as an airlock prior to its disposal next year.
In work. As the 2 valve is open. Current pressure is 270. The sky is stable. And we are going to deactivate the injector in 2 minutes. So what's the counter? 1 minute, 15 seconds. Copy. That's good. The next step is when the pressure hits about 100 millimeters, that the BSS or LAN interface unit needs to be put in the correct position. So once you hit that pressure, please let me know. Copy. Will do. So you would have to put the SO valve in the position closed. All right, in 34 seconds. Copy. Sergey, second, what's on the count? What's on the timer for you? 26, 26 seconds. All right. So once you get to 000, you would be putting the pneumatic valve in the position closed. Please verify that the injector should be off. All right, counter is at 0. The pressure is 140, and we are putting the injectors in the off position. We are getting correct indications, and current pressure is 125, and we're standing by for the audio signal. And the pressure in the suits for both is 0.38. Copy? That's good. And we are standing by for your report regarding Orlan interface unit that the pressure is 20 millimeters, 02 open for EVA. What's the pressure? The current pressure is 100. And we got the warning for both suits. We got the signal for both suits. Correction. All right. And then please be ready to put the BSS Orlan interface unit in position for EVA.
So with the pre-breathe of pure oxygen having been completed and everything checked out by the cosmonauts inside the Poisk airlock, that module's airlock now being depressurized down to vacuum prior to the opening of the hatch, that will mark the official start of the clock for today's spacewalk by Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov.
70 millimeters. Copy. Thank you. All right, the delta for pressure drop is slowing down. The current pressure is 50 millimeters. Sergey 2, we copy, and we are standing by when pressure in MRM2 is going to reach 20 millimeters. And then
when you hear the interpretation of the conversation between the Russian mission controllers in Korolyov and the crew inside Poisk, the reference to Sergey 1 is to Expedition 64 Commander Sergey Ryzhikov. Sergey 2 is Kud-Sverchkov.
Right. We are at 40 millimeters. We got another signal at 320.
Хорошо, принято. У обоих есть.
We got the signal for both suits. Copy, that's good. Pressure is 30. Copy. Pressure is 20 millimeters, and I am putting Orlan on the Orlan interface unit in O2 open EVA, and stand by till you reach 12 millimeters in MRM2 per MV. Copy, and current pressure is 18 millimeters in MRM2 per MV. Copy.
Fifteen millimeters.
15 millimeters is the pressure in MRM2.
Сергей, повтори, пожалуйста.
Sergey?
Давление в скафандрах по ОДСК сколько?
So, what is the pressure in the suit for ODSK? 0.37
Хорошо.
and 0.38 for me. Okay, that's good. Pressure in MRM2 is 14 millimeters.
Давление 12
Copy. Once the pressure goes down to 12 millimeters, please put KSD 2 valve in position closed, and then KSD S or DC1 also afterwards. After KSD 2, put it also in position closed. Wilco.
Давление в отсеке 12 миллиметров. Закрываю.
And the pressure is 12 millimeters. I am closing KSD 2 in KSD 2 is in position closed, and I'm closing KSD SO
Не горит.
in position closed, and we are getting
Мими-2 по моновакуметру сейчас.
the message, the correct message. And what's the pressure in MRM2 currently? It is 11 millimeters. All right, please put step 13 in work. That's going to be MRM2 final leak check. So please monitor the pressure in MRM2 per MV. Copy. And please start the 5-minute timer. 5-minute timer has been started. That's good. Copy.
The pressure inside the Poisk airlock is approaching vacuum, at which point the hatch will be open by Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov, the first in a series of procedures that will lead to it being opened for a second time to permit the spacewalk to proceed, all part of the validation of the Poisk module to be used for Russian spacewalk activity to ensure that the seals around the hatch to Poisk are clean and can hold pressure at a variety of different intervals in the depressurization, repressurization procedures.
Сереж, давление...
Sergey, what is the current pressure in MRM2? 2 minutes have elapsed.
Сейчас займу прежнее положение, чтобы точнее.
Let me get in the original position to make sure I get the clear reading. Okay.
Миллиметров.
11 millimeters.
Принято 11, хорошо.
Copy, 11 millimeters. That's good.
Чтобы вы понимали, там после окончания
Just for your information,
контроля герметичности
once leak checks are complete,
у нас с вами фрагмент,
Передачу
связанный с переходом
we'll
на
switch
автономное питание,
to,
выполняться не будет. Мы
will not
остаемся на
do
электрофазе,
the
на
steps
бортовой колодке,
of
на
to switch to
режиме
autonomous power. You will stay
электропитания
on the
борт
umbilicals
и будем
on
приступать к
using
открытию
onboard
выходного люка.
power,
Артем,
and
будете делать.
you will start opening the EV hatch with Artyom guiding you. Okay, copy.
После открытия осмотра я
Once you
возвращаюсь на
open
связь, и мы с
EV
вами
hatch
будем
and
работать
inspect it,
по надуву ПХО до 260
we'll
с проверкой
refresh PHO to
герметичности
260
выходного
millimeters,
люка,
and
как
we'll do
планировали.
the EV hatch leak check.
Принято.
Copy.
Again, the series of steps you're hearing being relayed to the two cosmonauts from the Russian flight controllers in Korolyov, all part of the checkout of the Poisk module's airlock seals, the hatchway out into the vacuum of space. Ryzhikov and Kud-Sverchkov are hooked up inside Poisk to life support systems. They will go on internal Orlan suit power as soon as they are ready to exit the Poisk airlock a short time from now. First, the hatch will be opened to Poisk. That will start the clock running on today's spacewalk, the 232nd, in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. They will inspect the seals around the circumference of the hatch before closing the hatch again and conducting a partial repressurization of the Poisk hatch and the airlock to about 260 millimeters of mercury. One final leak check will be performed before they depressurize Poisk again down to vacuum, and then they'll open up the hatch for a second time and float outside to begin today's spacewalking work.